I've just washed this car, and do you know what? Call me crazy, but a car feels better to drive when it's clean. It's as if it's like grateful for being washed. It's like, just, I don't know, maybe I'm nuts, but I feel like cars drive better when they've just been washed. So you join me on my way to the garage. I am so sorry, mostly to myself, about not doing any work on the Mark II Fiesta for literally like months now. I'm gonna go and try to get back into it. I'm not trying to do anything too crazy for the time being. I just need to get my head back in that space. I need to get to the garage. I need to get my eyes on it. I need to see I need to try and work out what I need to do, what my next step is, and that's what's happening right now. I feel like just making a start is the most important thing. Like, I've realized this ages ago. Doing anything is just starting it. It's like, don't overthink it, just get your head in there and just start working it out. That's what I need to do. That's what we're gonna do. All right, I'll see you at the garage. Right then, my fellow struggly boys, we are back in the garage. Let's just jump straight into it. I've already sat there for a little minute, tried to work out what my next step is. So I was working on this corner of the car, and oh my god, this is an absolute mental puzzle of craziness. I'm trying to look at this and remind myself of what's what and what I was doing and where my mind was when I started doing all of this. So I repaired the top part of the frame rail, made the lower frame rail section, bolted it up, and basically this is ready to be welded in. But before I do any welding or anything like that, I wanted to get all of the pieces prepared, and the last thing that I made was this. So this is a little repair piece that lives here, and then there is a million other bits of metal that will need to go back into place and be welded to each other. So I want to have all the pieces of the puzzle made up, all the areas prepped, and then at that point I will definitely be sure of what's where, because at the moment I'm still a bit confused on some areas. So I'm gonna have to start making pieces up, putting them in place, just clamping them in place, maybe screwing them into place wherever they can be screwed or whatever, just putting things in place to complete the puzzle. And then once the whole thing is complete and I know what's what and what shapes need to be what shapes, then I'll start welding everything in. When I was cutting things out, I was being really careful so I can reuse some of the pieces. For example, this piece, that will be able I can just weld that back in without any problems. And this piece as well, it obviously will need to be cleaned up, but again, I'll be able to put this back to where it came from. I think what I need to address next is this layer of metal here. This layer of metal comes down. It comes down from here. It connects to the frame rail. It will also, this is kind of what's left of it. It has this lip on it, and this lip will be welded to the back of this piece. Oops. So this piece needs to come down here, have a lip here for that piece to weld onto. It needs to come down far enough to weld onto this. And what I'm currently struggling with is this area here. This piece here comes over the top of the inner sill, and obviously everything is welded and whatever else. This floor, this little floor bit that's missing, I already have that made up as a template. It's gonna be, that's straightforward. All of this is all quite self-explanatory. It's all of this that's kind of confusing me a little bit at the minute, but I think maybe I'll break it up into separate sections rather than just try and make one weird, complicated, confusing piece. Break it up into sections and take it from there. Start making things out of cardboard and see how I get on. Okay, I'll update you in a minute. Right then, so So it's very, very easy to get overwhelmed with this stuff. So I'm taking it slow. I'm doing easy things first. This is gonna have to be welded to this lip here, and that's this big piece. And I'm only just doing this section. I'm not gonna do anything on this bit, just because that still confuses me a little bit. So we're just gonna do it one step at a time, and we'll get there. We're just going nice and slow, making sure all our lines meet up everywhere, and bit by bit. The key right now is to just not get overwhelmed. There's a lot going on here. I was lost and confused before, and now I'm even more lost and confused because I've just left it alone for like months and haven't touched it. So slow and steady wins the race. We got this, boys. We got this. Let's carry on. As I was saying, we're keeping things simple. So literally, this is what we got, and this is gonna go here. I need to put a little bend in it. The outer seal is gonna line up with all of this, but then this top bit just needs to come in a little bit. So we need to put a slight bend in this. We are onto something. We're making progress again. Nice. Just simple, small steps. Don't overwhelm yourself. That's the key right now. Okay, I'm gonna make a bend in this. So this edge lines up with this, and this edge lines up with this. And then I think what I want to do is these three pieces, I need to clean them up, and put them in some copper primer. And that will be 3 pieces of the puzzle ready to go for when it's time to weld. I think that's a pretty decent plan. Got my 3 pieces that I'm going to concentrate for the minute, cleaning them up to bare metal, get them ready for weld through primer. This bit had a couple of little rusty spots on it. I've cleaned them up pretty well, but one corner of it has ended up being so thin I know I'm just gonna have so much trouble with it if I leave it like this. So I'm gonna cut this corner out, weld in a new piece, finish sanding it, and that will be the first piece of the puzzle that's ready. Alright, so these two pieces I sprayed, they were pretty clean. This piece had a tiny few little bits of rust on it. I welded it up. This is the corner that I welded up with a new fresh piece. There was a couple of little specks of rust on it, so just to be on the safe side, I put a bit of rust treatment on it. Gonna wait for a little bit, then sand that off and put it in copper primer as well. It's all good having a million puzzle pieces, but they're all kind of measured very roughly. They'll all still need final little bleep 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 to make them fit good, but maybe I need to start welding a few bits in and then work off of something that's actually solidified. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start prepping the lower frame rail for welding. So here I need to drill some holes for the spot welds that I'm gonna do from the top through this into this. I've prepared all my points for plug welds, and then I cleaned and repainted both contact surfaces. So the top of this piece and the bottom of this piece, I gave them another clean, gave them another coat of weld through primer, and put everything into its final position. I have also clearanced this gap, so it's a nice consistent gap here for me to weld. Before I start welding, I will scratch off some of the paint inside of the spot weld holes, just to make sure my weld starts really nicely. And yeah, let's just get some metal into some metal. Let's do it. Just a reminder, or to anyone who didn't realise, we're using a gasless MIG welder for all of this. We don't have a gas MIG at the moment. We're looking for one. We'll get one. But until then, everything on both of these cars have been done with a gasless MIG. On the internet, it will tell you everywhere that no, you can't do car restorations and car panels with a gasless MIG. Obviously, gasless MIG has its limitations, and it's a very messy process, as I will show you in a second, the result that you get. But it does the job. It fuses two pieces of metal together. It melts one piece of metal into another piece of metal, which is all that's needed. Yes, it requires a bit more work to clean it up and make it all good after, but it works. It might not be the prettiest welding, but it does the job. Don't sit there and think, oh no, I don't have the right welder and blah blah. Gasless MIG is such an easy thing to pick up and to just start doing. It's just do it, and then build yourself up to a gas MIG, which will hopefully we'll get one, and things will get better looking. This is where I am with my frame rail. Everything is welded in. All of my welds have turned out really nice. They've really melted themselves in. I have welded up this seam here. As you can see, penetration is really chunky on everything. I've left the other edge of it alone. The two edges, the top edge and the side edge. I'm gonna leave that until the car is upside down and I can get comfortable access to it. All right, I'm gonna spend some time grinding, cleaning it up, drilling out some of those holes, and I will show you the result after. And here we go. I've cut the hole bigger, and that hammered area that you can see is to allow for this bump here, and it's the two pieces of metal are now tightly together, formed to each other on this hump. Cleaned it up a little bit, sprayed a little bit of paint over the top just to keep everything protected. I'm not gonna do much more for now because I just want to continue welding things on, because obviously the more I weld, the more stuff's gonna burn off and there's gonna be mess. So I need to just get a few more pieces on, and then I will do like really nice final cleanup and sand everything down nicely and paint everything. I want to start thinking about piecing the rest of this inner puzzle together. Oh, and as always, got everything out everywhere, and my mind is just starting to get a bit confused and lost. So I think a quick little tidy up, and then I'm going to start scratching my head about the next puzzle pieces going on. Yeah, I just need to get the floor is like, you can't really tell, but there is so much disgusting stuff on it. I'm rolling around on all of this and it's just not the one. I need to just sort this out quickly and carry on. Tidied up, had a bit of food, and now I'm playing around with my puzzle again. So I think the next piece that needs to go on is this section, and I have been just iron it up, making sure there is no other things I need to do before I can weld it on. A few plug welds that are gonna happen on this little area here, and just weld this edge of it up. That will be the next piece. I need to make sure that I have this lip at the right angle so I can weld it onto the back of this piece. That's going to be an interesting dance, but yeah, I think that's the next bit. I need to clearance this gap here a little bit, drill some holes here for the plug welds, and I'm just going to crack on with it. Yep, let's do that. Kablamskis. Next piece is welded in, and I haven't ground anything down yet, literally just to show you how potato it looks to start with. But this is all internal structures that don't really matter too much. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, but again, I'm not going full blown exterior panel dress up. I'm just going to take some of the ugliness off and make sure this is flat here, because this is where the bottom of the sill ends up. Penetration is lovely, looking meaty. And yeah, it's actually not even the same day anymore from the last clip. We even have the boy. Shalom. Chewy. 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 No. Shalom. He bought himself a 40,000 million pound mountain bike that he wants to take on road trips.
I don't want to ride it, I just want to put it on the roof.
Just want to put it on the roof rack just so it looks cool. I'm a big fan of roof racks, especially when they're like used to actually carry stuff. Like a cool, super expensive mountain bike. That's bloody cool. Chewy, look at your nose. Boop, boop. And is there a little rubber padding for extra gripping?
That's where
the stem. There's the stem land and the little rubber piece. That's quite good, mate. That's quite good. Okay, I'm gonna grind down that potato welding and it will instantly look 400 times better. I know it's strong, I know it's good, and that piece that I just welded in, it ties the inner side of the car to the frame rail. So I've done even more spot welds that I was supposed to, just to make sure everything is like super strong, and they're really good welds. They might be ugly, but they are so strong, super penetrating, super good. Melty Johnsons. Okay, grind them down, make them look okay, move on to the next piece of the puzzle. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone for a minute. I've taken some of the super ugly stuff off. I'm not gonna bring you in too close because it's still not the prettiest thing in the world. There is a bit of weird warpage that happened here, but don't mind that because I'm gonna want all of this flex here. All of this flex and all of this and whatever's going on, this has got a bit of wobble in it, and that's good because I'm gonna need a lot of play here for when I'm lining up this hill. But it lines up pretty well already. And I keep saying it's kind of ugly because it is kind of ugly, but it's all internal stuff. Internal stuff I'm not too fussed about. As long as it's strong, as long as the meat and the potatoes is there, then the rest of it is just, I just need to make sure it's treated, covered in paint, degreased and cleaned, and everything's like just good and solid. And the external stuff I'm going to spend a lot more time on. Obviously body work is going to happen as well. I've got my momentum now. Picking up the welder again, doing stuff. It might not seem like a lot is done, but it's a huge step forward. Frame rail is on, that next layer is on. I know exactly what's going on with the rest of it, and we're moving forward. I know it's been absolute months since I've actually done anything productive on the Mark II, but it's like, it's a hobby, and it's like the making stuff with your hands. It's very artistic, all this stuff, and to do art you have to find inspiration, and you can't do stuff unless you're inspired. Right now I feel inspired, the ball is rolling, and we're doing it, boys. We are doing it. I'm just really happy to be excited about doing stuff again after such a long break. But that's enough blabbering on. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching. Say hello in the comments. We'll see you in the next episode. Get in Afro Johnson.